Quality of life updates can make a good game into a truly great game. It's nice to see then that No Man's Sky Beyond brings with it a whole load of quality of life updates. But more than that, Hello Games took this update as an opportunity to reduce and redirect the approach to grinding, and thus became the second space game this week that rethinks the concept of grind. The other game, of course, which also released this week, is Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, and if you're into space games, it's well worth a look. A link to my review on Rebel Galaxy can be found in the video description. And incidentally, if you are interested in picking up No Man's Sky, then there's also a link in the video description to the Humble Bundle website where you can find the game discounted by 50%. So if you do choose to use that link, I will get a small amount of commission, and that would certainly be appreciated. Now, No Man's Sky Beyond has a vast amount of content, changes and improvements. In fact, there's so many that I couldn't possibly cover them in a single video. However, taken together, these updates completely overhaul No Man's Sky, and it's still of course the same game, but the focus has shifted quite dramatically. It's this aspect of the update that I really want to talk about in this video. In particular, I'd like to focus on the grind and the changes that have been made to it. I want to focus on this aspect for this video because I feel it's hugely important to the game, and in fact the changes have made a significant overall improvement to the title. I will of course talk about the other changes in further videos. In my opinion, No Man's Sky has never really been particularly tedious when it comes to resource gathering. That said, it's not always been great either. In the past, a number of problems have needlessly got in the way. Examples of this are extremely slow mining in the very early days of the game, the poorly implemented overheating mechanics on the mining tool in pretty much all implementations of the game, and the limited storage capacity in the inventory. Now these might only seem minor at first glance, but over time they become a hindrance and add significant wasted time to any play session. Hello Games then have revisited all of this and much more as a part of the highly anticipated third pillar of the Beyond update. The other two pillars of course being VR support and improved multiplayer. The third pillar includes a huge number of changes and improvements, and for me personally, one of the best changes has been that Hello Games were willing to alleviate the grind. The bottom line here is that this completely changes the overall feel and flow of the game in a very positive way, and here's some reasons why. Previously, exosuit inventory management was a real nuisance. Resources could be stacked to around 250 units with a slightly higher capacity in certain limited slots. It was extremely quick to hit these limits, leading the players to juggle inventory between their starship, freighter and bases. Now it wasn't a particularly difficult process, but it could be time consuming and overall just felt needless and got in the way of day-to-day gameplay. Beyond removes this restriction and raises the 250 unit stack limit to a massive 10,000 units. Quite naturally, this really changes the flow of the game. In concept, it's an extremely simple change. The impact on gameplay, however, is significant, and it really is an improvement. Now, as I said, there's loads of quality of life updates in Beyond that have had this very same effect. On the surface, they seem like relatively small changes. In terms of their impact upon the game, however, they certainly have had quite an impact. And when you start combining their cumulative impact on the game, then Beyond essentially improves almost all corners of No Man's Sky significantly. Other examples are the improved heat mechanics on the mining laser, which not only appears to improve mining times, but also feels more natural. The hotter the tool gets, the more damage it does. Tech trees also replace a whole load of blueprints, and this now means that you can see at a glance what you might like to research or improve upon, along with the requirements for doing so. The new Discovery tab gives you an at-a-glance information that saves you huge amounts of time. In fact, the Discovery tab is something I'll be touching on in another video, as it's a great addition and deserves more attention and time focused on it. The Anomaly, which is now called the Nexus and serves as the multiplayer shared central hub, can be summoned from any location in space, and this means you don't need to spend time travelling to it. There are so many changes in the game that give consideration to the player's time, and personally I feel that this is one of the best, if not the best things that Hello Games have done with Beyond. It's not hyperbole to say that time is precious in all areas of life. The vast majority of people play games because they enjoy them, and that makes gaming, like any other hobby, a good use of time. However, there's a growing tendency for many games in the modern times to abuse that time. through the use of either poorly thought out or intentionally obtuse game mechanics. It's refreshing then to see that some developers are willing to move past that and vastly improve the flow of the gameplay. And as you can probably tell by now, this improved flow is something that I felt all throughout the game, whether it was collecting resources in space, mining on planets, constructing things, and yes, even starting a new save and playing through the first few hours of the game. Now, whilst it's fair to point out that No Man's Sky Beyond isn't a traditional MMO and therefore doesn't really need to artificially string gameplay out, it is nonetheless an online game with a shared space similar to titles like Warframe and Destiny. Whilst those are completely different genres, they are of course known for immense levels of grind. Other titles of course, such as Elite Dangerous, also share that same attribute. Hello Games then prove that not only is it possible to move past that, but also, in so doing, dramatically improve the overall game. I feel there's something significant here that can be learned by many other games out there. If you're on the fence then about either picking up No Man's Sky or are undecided about returning to it, and the reasons for indecision are the impact that resource gathering, crafting and the general grind once had on the game, then I can tell you it's well worth taking a look. Beyond is a significant overhaul, and Hello Games have clearly put a lot of thought into the game flow. No Man's Sky is getting to the point where the gameplay no longer gets in your way, but is rather something to be fully enjoyed. Impressive work then. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.